Hey there, and today we're talking about how society is cutting off Trump voters. This video is about how to lose friends and alienate fascists. This isn't cruel, it's rather necessary. Listen, I'm a big fan of cutting people off, with or without explanation. Life is short, smile while you still have teeth, and don't let anybody sully the days that you have left under the sun, especially if they're people who voted for Trump or whatever other far-right Nazi wannabe who happens to find themselves drooling over absolute power. Just say no. There's no point in wasting your time and brain space. But I know I don't need to nudge you in that direction. I'm aware more and more people are choosing to have nothing to do with MAGA. Far-right losers, extreme conservatives, if we can call them that, or anyone who decided it's all about them and fuck the rest, your rights and needs don't matter. People are cracking down on extremists everywhere, at an individual level as well as a more organized citywide level, sometimes nationwide. See what's been happening with ICE agents in LA? See the protests everywhere? See what happened in Hungary, where tens of thousands of people decided to defy Hungary's ban on Pride in a protest against Orban, the country's extremely conservative Prime Minister and an outspoken admirer of King Trump I of the United States of America. It wasn't just an act of protest, but a mocking move towards someone who is trying to control and abuse an entire country. The problem is that it can be difficult to change an entire regime once it's been installed into power. You can try, and you should try, but it takes time. However, it's much easier to change your relationship with someone who contributed to the regime being elected. You can just cut them out of your life. And it's been happening a lot lately. Have you noticed people who are very strong about voting for Trump have slowly but surely become very quiet about it? Have you noticed the lawn signs are gone and the red hats are fewer? Now that Trump's big ugly bill has passed, things will get even uglier for his voters. MAGAs will be more and more isolated by those directly affected by Trump's abusive actions. And as usual, they'll refuse to see what they did wrong. There was a wave of people breaking up with their friends, family, and acquaintances who voted red right after Trump was elected. But things have cooled down a little bit in the meantime, probably expecting to see what Trump will do. It was like watching a rabid dog whose rabies hasn't kicked in yet. But now that the rabies is in full swing and people are losing their livelihood and rights, they are once again starting to pull away from the ones who voted the rabid dog into office. And it's just going to get worse. MAGA better get ready, because people already have a few basic formulas to deal with those who brought this curse upon America. Formula 1, ghost the maggots. Listen, nobody wants to have to deal with people who deliberately voted against basic human rights. Nobody wants to deal with people who are too stupid to understand that Trump is a dictator. Just like we wouldn't want to have anything to do with a Nazi. We just don't. It's too much to unpack. And we've probably tried to unpack it before, but we're met with laughter and name-calling and conspiracy theories. So honestly, why even bother? That's what I did with my friends who live in Florida. The husband is a huge Trump supporter, and the wife is one as well. She's just not as crazy about him as the husband is. But I haven't spoken to them since Trump won. Apart from the Nazi part, they're wonderful people. I just cannot get over the Nazi part. And I don't think I should either. Plus, any explanation would fall on deaf ears. So again, why even bother? I'd rather use my energy for something useful rather than speaking into the void. Formula number 2, never date conservative men. More and more women are refusing to date or have anything to do with a conservative man. Probably even a mild conservative. The risk is too high that she'll end up barefoot and pregnant with no access to a bank account. I'm struggling to find something riskier than this right now. Why would any woman put herself through that? Unless she's being misled or lied to, of course, there's no reason to do that. I saw a guy who wouldn't openly admit he voted for the tangerine Hitler, even when directly asked. It was one of those dating shows, and a man and a woman, they had this good rapport until she asked him who he voted for, and he just refused to answer. He deflected. He asked, why does that even matter? He laughed. He blushed, etc. In the end, his refusal to tell was an answer in itself. So she said no. I would have done the same. A man who voted for Trump is clearly a man who doesn't care about me and doesn't even understand what that care would even mean. That's a hard pass. A hard no. Formula number 3. Yell, yell, and yell some more. I'm the kind of person who would just turn on her heels and walk away, never to answer your calls again. But some people will call you on your BS. Call you on it hard. Conservatives will be faced with some serious consequences in the following months, and some of them will be delivered in quite an angry tone, maybe even yelling, also screaming at the top of a liberal's lungs. And it's for good reason. As people start losing their jobs, their livelihood, members of their families get deported, losing loved ones because of a lack of proper medical care, etc., things can get quite heated. Again, for a very good reason. And while yelling and cutting people out can't even begin to make anyone feel better about their life, it's a good start to at least not entertain the ones who contributed to making it happen. Formula 4, denial will no longer work. The people who voted for Trump are in complete denial about how their vote affected the lives of the people around them. They still say that we should all be friends no matter who each of us voted for. Well, no, I disagree. If you voted against my rights, we can't be friends. If you voted against my rights, we cannot be friends. It's as simple as that. Trump's voters remind me of parents whose idle children went no contact. No matter what those kids say the parents did, the parents still think they're being treated unfairly, and are very, very strong about the fact that cutting people off is unacceptable behavior no matter what. It's a clear case of not taking responsibility for their own actions. What we do affects our lives and sometimes the lives of the people around us. If I treat people like shit, it's only natural for people to leave me, regardless of the relationship between us. Otherwise, I can do anything I want and abuse anyone as much as I feel like it. We have laws against such people. The same goes for people who voted against my rights. There are no laws against voting for whoever you want, but that doesn't mean anyone has to put up with the fact that you supported a man who is against my kind. Refusing to understand and blaming others for their reaction is nothing but emotional immaturity, playing the victim, and refusing to take accountability for your own life. Well, that's just too bad, and it will not work this time. If you voted against my humanity, don't be shocked when I stop treating you like you're still a part of it. People are not angry anymore, they're just done. And that's a scar Trump voters will have to carry, not the rest of us. So no, nobody owes you kindness. We don't owe you civility. We owe ourselves peace, clarity, and a life untouched by your delusions. And if that means cutting you off like a tumor, then goodbye and good riddance. History won't remember you kindly, and neither will we. Sorry. If you watched this video until the end, thank you for being here. Hope to see you next time too. Subscribe, like, and maybe leave a comment. Bye.